Sometimes you just have to laugh. Sometimes you just have to laugh. Like, it's so desperate. It is so pathetic that you have to laugh. So we thought we'd just finished, right, with Confessions of a Female Founder. We thought that flop mess of a podcast that Meghan used to simply tell us that she didn't have a moon bump and her children were real and her marriage is really happy. You know, all this usual stuff. We thought that it was all over. Until last night, there was a big announcement coming. A huge announcement coming about who this star guest was going to be. So it would have to be big, right? I mean, this is someone who views herself as a member of the British royal family still, someone who views herself as the future president of the United States of America, someone who views herself as the next billionaire entrepreneur. Surely, to change all her plans and to do another episode of the podcast, it was going to be massive. And then the rumors started, maybe she'd got Beyonce. And you know what? Like, okay, Beyonce's a pop star, but at least she's pretty interesting. I'm sort of like, okay, yeah, she doesn't do many interviews. She used to quite like Meghan until Meghan revealed the text message that she apparently sent her in the Netflix series. So I'm like, yeah, okay, Beyonce, not a bad booking. And let's be honest, she has needed a big booking. But no. It wasn't Beyonce. She leaked to her favorite magazine, People. The big guest was Beyonce's mum, Tina Knowles. And I'm just like, should we just start feeling sorry for this woman, for this business disaster? But anyway, I'm going to see what Angela Levin thinks in just one moment. This was the big announcement that Meghan released on social media. Watch.
More very special interview for you. A bonus episode, because when a matriarch calls and when this matriarch calls, oh, you answer.
That's why I fight so hard. Now, I tell them every day, you belong anywhere. I mean, since they were little girls, you belong anywhere you choose to be.
Can you guess who it is? This one is so special, y'all. I'll see you next week.
All right, y'all. No Taylor Swift, no Megan Thee Stallion, no Dolly Parton, no Gwyneth Paltrow, no Martha Stewart, but Angela Levin. She's got Beyonce's mum. You've got to laugh, don't you?
Well, yes. I mean, you burst out laughing because although you've been doing a lot of the reading about her Confessions of Female, I just thought, oh, thank God it's over, because all this pouring out, all this negativity, all this poor me, you know, when you see what a pretty good life she's got, but she goes on and on and on about it. And I thought, thank goodness it's enough of pouring out all this nonsense. Shut up. And at least how long do we have to wait for another one? Maybe 6 months, maybe 9 months, you know, hooray. But it's yeah, well, maybe her mother will talk a lot about Beyonce, but that's not what really makes you think, oh, I must get up early to listen to this.
No, and the thing is, right, this should have just been put to bed, Meghan. Like, sometimes you've just got to accept something has been a disaster and move on. Because what she's actually doing is drawing to the world the attention of the fact that actually she hasn't secured any big guests. Like, if Tina Knowles is your big guest, you're doing something pretty wrong. And the reality is, Angela, there's a very good reason why genuine A-listers like Dolly Parton, a really nice woman who I've interviewed a lot, just doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yes, but the thing is, you don't necessarily want to be invited to something like that, where you don't talk in a pragmatic way about how you got going and the difficulties and maybe the jokes, but you just have to sit and listen to Meghan pouring out about me. And at the fact that she won't actually even leave it without telling us what's next, you know, her compulsion to be the front of everybody's thoughts is actually very sad, because she can't get enough out about herself. Anybody with any sense would think, well, look, I've done a lot of this. Some of the things I said are not quite right. Let me calm down and do something and make it a bit different. Um, she can't leave the front row. She has to be there speaking about herself, and mostly, which I'm going to tell you later, are, are awful lies, terrible, and showing herself to be just dreadful. Now, if anybody with any sense wanted to do that, it would be absolutely shocking. Why would you show the worst part of yourself? Because it's giggly, because it's fun, because you just can't hold it in. I mean, I've never met anybody like that. It's really strange. A part of it is a bit sad, but on the rest of it, it's very, very annoying.
Well, I think it is sad. I mean, I did a little bit of research into Tina Knowles because obviously I know she's a bit of a woman in her own right. I do understand that, but her business career was pretty much. I mean, I'm not going to attack her for it. It was slightly interesting. Like she owned a hair salon business in Texas, for example. So good on her. She was a small businesswoman, but in reality, any fame that Tina Knowles has, Angela Levin, is from Beyonce because her fashion business really kicked off when she started designing the clothes for Destiny's Child. Now, I wonder how she got that job. Do you know what I mean? And Angela, then I was thinking, actually, maybe there are quite a lot of similarities between Tina Knowles and Meghan Markle because Meghan Markle had a very mediocre level of fame that very few people knew. I certainly hadn't heard of her because I wasn't a viewer of Suits, Angela, before she started dating Prince Harry.
Me neither.
And all of her fame and all of the ability to become a multimillionaire, to become successful, has been off the back of her connection to Prince Harry. Now, I guess with Tina Knowles, the slight difference, right, is that she produced Beyonce. Like, she was clearly a pretty damn good mother to produce this little superstar. Maybe very pushy, I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research into her, but you understand the point that I'm making.
Yeah, of course I do. But it's the whole thing that she won't actually want to listen too much
True.
to Meghan because she will want to talk about herself, especially as she's much older and she's got an opportunity to do that. But Meghan won't like that because it's what's got to be done about me, me, me. And actually, she should have shut up about it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Okay, but you wanted 8, you got 8. Leave it. Be more sophisticated, be understanding that people don't want to hear from you every single week. These long, boring things about her. It's just a very, very odd way of behaving, frankly. Very odd.
Yeah, and I guess the thing with Tina Knowles though is that Meghan may have actually met her match here. I think she probably, Angela, actually in this interview is going to have to sit back and actually listen because, as she says, Tina Knowles is the matriarch. She takes no nonsense. But it was quite funny, wasn't it, hearing Meghan start trying to talk much more like a sort of Texan. Oh yeah, all. It's like, I love that when it's genuine. But we've never heard her speak like that. So clearly she's going to do a bit of shape-shifting chameleon like with Meghan Markle. But I think with Beyonce, with Tina Knowles. But I think, look, the fundamental thing is this shows how much Meghan has fallen. At the end of the day, when she was first going to Hollywood, if she had called up Beyonce and said, will you come on my major new project, Beyonce would have said yes. But the decisions that she has made along the way have just made her completely toxic to the rest of the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And when she first said this is what she was going to do, her confessions, you think that she's actually going to get top people, but it shows that she's been absolutely dashing around to get anyone she can. Some people that she hasn't spoken for years. You know, she says they're very close friends, but she hasn't actually bothered to be close to them. I think it's been a really hard job getting them, but she's not showing it. And she thinks, I imagine, that she will keep them because she's going to pour out everything about herself. It's absolutely extraordinary. I keep saying that, but I mean, it's ridiculous behavior, ridiculous behavior.
Angela Levin, Kenzie Schofield this week has also revealed that Dolly Parton became the latest major celebrity to turn down an appearance with Meghan. Watch this. But first, the reason you're watching this show is that it's becoming increasingly difficult to trust mainstream media or the so-called fact checkers who claim to determine which facts are true. And for good reason, given the ongoing debates over free speech, the controversy surrounding Brexit, and how Trump and other anti-establishment politicians are portrayed. So I have the solution. It's called Ground News. It's the best way to stay informed and cut through media bias and manipulative narratives so you can get the facts for yourself. It's been a game changer for a news junkie like me, and you can see for yourself at ground.news/outspoken. So let me show you this incredible website and app in action. Let's take the recent landmark decision by the UK Supreme Court that ruled that women can only be biological adult human females, reversing years of trans extremism. You can see clearly in one place that over 360 sources around the world are covering this story. Ground News instantly shows how the story is being covered by the media, broken down by whether it leans left or right, illustrated by its biased distribution chart. And if you scroll down, you can actually see every headline about the story, along with the political bias and ownership of the publication. So quite clearly, you can see like great coverage from the Daily Wire. They gave a really good headline. UK Supreme Court rules trans identifying men and not women. Loved what spiked online, and the Daily Telegraph did too. By stark contrast, however, the left-wing National in Scotland said the result was only a victory for gender-critical feminists, and the Canary ran with like just a nutty headline. Victory for the far right as Supreme Court rolls back trans women's rights by 2 decades. I mean, you couldn't make it up. My favourite feature is the blind spot feed, though, on Ground News, which surfaces upwards of 20 stories daily that receive the majority of coverage from one side of the political spectrum. So if you love the news, like you know I do and I know you do, the blind spot feed is the best way to get a balanced perspective on what's really happening. So go to ground.news/outspoken, or you can scan the QR code on screen if you're watching on YouTube and Rumble to subscribe today. You will get 40% off the same Vantage plan that I use for unlimited access. Big discount that. So that's ground.news/outspoken. But now, back to the show.
She dropped this bombshell. Meghan's team has, quote, openly pursued Dolly for the Netflix show. Dolly declined, and now the interviewers are adding Meghan questions. Team Dolly doesn't want the comparisons. According to YouGov, Harry's favorability rating, Prince Harry, has dropped to 27%, its lowest for more than 2 years. And Meghan's is now at 20%, the lowest since YouGov even started tracking her back in 2017 when her and Prince Harry announced their engagement. Any association with Harry and Meghan would just attract negative attention. That's how you end up with guests like cyberbully Chrissy Teigen on your program.
And I guess, Angela, that's also why you end up with the parents of famous celebrities rather than the celebrities themselves.
Because they'd always want to talk about their child, don't they, really? So, be proud of them. But actually, Meghan doesn't want to know that, does she?
Well, no,
really?
and it was really interesting in the last podcast last week, which we analysed, there was a moment when she's speaking to the owner of Spanx, and the owner of Spanx is completely motivated and completely supported by her father. And her father had been along for the entire ride from the beginning to the end. And you could just hear when Meghan was taking this in, she couldn't really cope because, of course, her father, Thomas Markle, was there for her right at the start, all along the way, through the whole journey, paid for her, introduced her to people. But then when Prince Harry came on the scene, he was dropped. And what was so interesting is that Meghan immediately moved on to talking about the owner of Spanx's mother and the influence of the mother, because this is the problem. Meghan knows that when she hears these stories, deep down, she knows what she's done to her father. So she doesn't want to hear other women talk about their relationships with their dads.
Yeah, but also this woman also had her husband. He rushed off to do something one day when one of the children, their first child, was not well. He's helped her a great deal, discussed things, been to places for her. But Meghan doesn't want that either from Harry, and she's got rid of him altogether, hasn't she now? Not that he'd be interested, but he can't even be helpful because she has to be in control of it, and she wouldn't have any patience for it. So look at that sad face there, and there, and there.
I know. God.
Yes,
I mean, sometimes
she wants to
pictures.
get rid of anyone who might take away a bit of interest, and of course Harry would because he's still royal. But she doesn't want that, so out. So I
Yes.
should put him at another table when they were away in Africa, a table for the children or the people who didn't matter, and she was up there with all the special people. I mean, how rude can that be?
Yeah. No, indeed.
But
And
that's her.
sometimes.
It's her. You
Sometimes a
know.
picture does tell 1,000 words, doesn't it? I have to
Yes.
say, though, Angela, if she did want a blockbuster hit for Netflix, do you know what she should do? She should reunite with the Markle family. That's what she should do on camera. It would be an absolute global sensation, that. Now, Angela, can we talk about this ridiculous claim? I don't know why GB News, my former employer, continually is trying to sort of rehabilitate Prince Harry and Meghan. I have my theories, but we won't go into that today. However, can you just tell me if this is just total nonsense from them, suggesting that Queen Camilla was making some type of gesture to Meghan Markle because she wore the same dress that she did for Harry and Meghan's wedding? GB News want us to think that this is a subtle tribute to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Angela, any
Well,
truth in that?
yeah, GB News is also my employers, but I mean, I can't understand how anyone can be so ridiculous. And they call it a subtle tribute to her and Harry. Now, what is a subtle tribute? What have they done? They've been vile, they've been awful. I mean, Harry with that BBC interview, that's not a subtle tribute, but in any case, it's actually very patronizing on women. It's saying that women don't wear more than one thing, and if one thing there is what they want to wear that day, it's actually also speaking about them. Now, I can tell you for sure that Camilla would never ever speak for Charles to get Harry back. She's not like that, and she said she always feels that she should be back. They're not her children. She did used to love them very much. I don't know about that recently, but she would never interfere with that. She would never try and send a secret message because if the king wanted to see him, he would get someone to call them up and say, look, come along, be kind. She knows he's got cancer and she doesn't want him to feel bad, which is very unhelpful. So why would she send a sort of subtle tribute? I mean, that's ridiculous. And with Catherine as well, we know what William thinks of his brother. Absolutely out, doesn't want to speak to him ever. So she's wearing a hat that she wore when they were married, and that means that she might really is trying to say, come back, we will miss you. I mean, she'd be in real trouble with her husband. And why would she want someone who told her that she was just about okay for royals because she fitted into the role? But she's not really, didn't really love her. I'm the one who fell in love with Meghan. Now, I don't know how anybody can forgive someone like that. And she wouldn't say something for William. And for goodness sake, what do they think of people? And doing it just because it's one outfit each. Now, sometimes women wear more than once one of their dresses or one of their hats. I mean, to think that they don't do that and find some mystery in there is just crazy. I mean, occasionally the late Queen would wear something that would say something, usually in jewelry, that would say to recognize something that happened some years ago. And you can say that, but not when there's a huge, nasty person going around saying hideous things about his family that you want to show off the hat or the dress that you wore when they got married. If they, I mean, women aren't like that, for goodness sake.
No, very good. Well, I'm glad you put that to rest. It just seemed like absolute clickbait nonsense to me.
What made me so cross? Because
No,
it's so
completely,
stupid.
because it was stupid, and they tried to do the same thing with Catherine, didn't they? Very, very recently. Very, very
Yes.
odd. This constant desire by the mainstream media to try and suggest that there's rehabilitation to come within the royal family towards Harry and Meghan, because that's certainly not where the royal family is at. We know that. Angela, there is growing criticism of Meghan Markle, though, in the US, actually, about this latest social media post. So there was a picture that went up on As Ever, and she said the unofficial quality inspector of this morning's garden haul. So she was saying that it was today, right? This was meant to be a new picture, and of course her dog is in it, and her odd-looking toes are in it as well. But Angela, this isn't a genuine picture again, is it? Because this food is out of season, or a lot of the food is out of season. And lots of people on social media have also said, there wasn't any dirt. And so what's the truth about this picture, Angela?
Well, I mean, I can only say that I know what sort of time of the year vegetables grow in your garden. But it is Meghan telling a lie. Why is she telling a lie? I mean, there are so many things.
I don't think she knows any other way, does she?
Well, I mean, broccoli, carrots, corn, red peppers, squash, spring onions, and medley of fresh herbs. Half of those were not at that time, right? The corn, squash, and broccoli could never be grow at the same time. So the sweet corn isn't ready until June at the earliest, and broccoli is picked earlier in the year. So, it's obvious for anybody. So why has she done that? Just to show off? I mean, can't she even get a few vegetables dug up and leave it at that? But instead of doing some hoo-ha special designer, something that looks so lovely, it's amazing she hasn't got sprinkles on the top, isn't it? And show it off. I mean,
Yeah, no,
no
indeed.
dog would eat. It looks like it's come out of a shop.
Of course it has.
Fine. Doesn't matter if she wants to show off what she thinks goes nicely together, but pretend it comes out of your garden when it's completely the wrong time of year, makes a fool of her. Or she's would be making a fool of us. That's the thing. We don't know enough to see this. And if you look back at what she's doing, all the time she's trying to make one over us, hoping we don't notice, couldn't care less if we do, and just being completely someone you can't understand.
Angela, meanwhile, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's neighbours speaking out again in Montecito. Now, this is all via the local neighbour, Richard Maynards, who actually does work for the local newspaper in Montecito, very, very connected. And he said of Meghan, she cultivates a very controlled image. She pays attention to every appearance, every word, every gesture. And here in Montecito, we appreciate simple people, even famous ones. Oprah Winfrey, for example, shows up at charity events. Meghan doesn't play the community game. He said there was even this anecdote of an elderly neighbour who wanted to give her a documentary he had made on local history. The old man never made it past the gate, Angela.
She's not going to be friendly. I just think you can think there's lots of different ways you can understand that. But the one I think is not that she's too shy, I think, or too busy. I think that she's too superior because she only wants to make contact with somebody who's very rich, very famous, who can help her with her jams and who will speak to her when she wants them to and when she's talking about me. I mean, I just think I don't need to be so ghastly, but it's just she's not there to even be generous for a few conversations and leave it. I mean, I think with neighbours, you don't have to make best friends of them or anything at all, and you can keep it down, but not to do anything. If you're in a place, you should actually feel you belong it. It's quite nice. It's an alternative family where people share things with you and can help each other if there's a terrible thunderstorm or anything like that. But she holds it all in because she won't. She's too superior to do it. Whereas Harry, this man, said that he was very friendly, shook hands, smiled, had a little conversation, because he knows he's been brought up from childhood to shake hands and say, hello, how are you? And he's actually quite happy to do that. He's not such a sort of I am so important type of person as Meghan is. So it's quite interesting that he, the prince, is much more friendly and approachable than she, somebody who can't bear being part of the royals unless she's actually making money out of it.
Yeah, that is interesting, actually, isn't it? I think one of the reasons, Angela, Levin, that Meghan flops so badly on social media is because there's no authenticity with what she posts. Everything seems so planned and so contrived. By contrast, and look, she's someone who I've actually criticised a huge amount in the past, but I have to say, there's something about Sarah Ferguson, Angela Levin, Fergie, the Duchess of York. There's something about her on social media that I think Meghan could learn a lot from. It's a sort of sense of unbridled joy and just showing the world who she really is. Watch this.
Hello, here we are in Peru, Pacific Ocean, right there. Look, palm trees, yes, but look at this flower. Look at this, off a tree like this. Look, you can just be anywhere with this beautiful flower, and this one too. Follow me, Molly, follow me. We love Lima. The sun is out, and this is just regular in the city. A beautiful tree like this. Beautiful here. We love Lima.
See, it's sort of infectious, Angela, right? And it's the total contrast to Meghan, where everything is like so planned and there's no genuine emotion.
Yes, that's right. I mean, Fergie, whatever you say about her, she's jolly, isn't she? And she knows how much she can go, and she wants to be with people. She enjoys it. Where Meghan actually, I think, finds it very, very difficult to be with people because she doesn't know what to say or what to ask or to be good fun apart from herself. It's very, very sad, really.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And I thought that was just a very fun video. And of course, if you do want first access to Angela and I on the Royal Uncancelled After Show every weekday, we give you the exclusives that the Royal Rota don't dare to touch, then please just sign up to my Substack, www.outspoken.live. The most important thing about Substack actually is it does protect me against cancellation. Prince Harry wants to cancel me. He tried very, very hard. It's really difficult given the relationships he has with big tech. So www.outspoken.live is the best way because Substack is a completely free speech platform. You can also communicate directly with me there, and it's a real community, actually. So please do join me there. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.